It's November the 28th. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Tuesday weather update. And across New Zealand and Australia, we are seeing plenty of low pressure and high pressure. We're in that time of year where we're sort of seeing hints of summer really coming in, but mixed up still with a good southerly change every now and then. Let's have a look and see what's happening on the animated wind map. Speaking of southerlies, look at this big high. We talked about this last week. I was saying if this high was further northwards, it would be a lot more of a traditional setup for our part of the world for this time of the year. This high being so far south is encouraging this vacuum of low pressure, which you can see in the dark shading around South Australia, another area of low pressure. And then also it's encouraging this colder southerly wind to come up into New Zealand at the moment. So blame the weather on this big high pressure system. It's the reason why it's raining when it shouldn't be in Australia, although that's not bad news for everybody. And in New Zealand, the reason why we are still in an unsettled pattern is because of that high pressure zone being just so far south. It was what we said at the start of autumn. El Nino can make spring even more spring-like, and I think this map here really sums that up. And just to the north here, another area of high pressure, that is encouraging a warmer subtropical nor'wester for the top part of the country. Obviously that's about to change as that southerly comes on in. So let's take a look at the rainfall, and most of it's falling on the west coast, mostly around Hokitika, Greymouth, and Westport, and you're talking about anywhere between 50 and 100 millimetres, most of that rain falling here in the hills and obviously further north along the ranges. On the eastern side, not very much in the way of rain, and about 20 to 40 millimetres around Mount Taranaki and the ranges north of Wellington. Over in Australia, actually quite some serious rainfall here between Canberra and the southeastern corner of Victoria. Look at the rainfall colour here in the blue, takes you up to 150 millimetres, but we've put on the next section going up to 200 because it is possible in that very narrow part of Australia. It's actually missed out on a lot of the rain. They had bushfires there just a month ago. So that is some good news, but it's a lot of rain about to fall in that southeastern corner and not so much up here in the northern part of Queensland. So by Wednesday, there is that low pressure zone which is heading towards New Zealand for the coming weekend. It's going to fall apart though. On the New Zealand side of the map for Wednesday, sou'westers, so those warm nor'westers at the top of the country, they disappear. But this high pressure zone to the south of Australia, one thing that's kind of impressive about it is how it comes all the way up into the Tasman and then all the way to the north and all the way to Tonga. So any tropical low pressure zones that are trying to form up here, and there is one that's trying to over the next couple of weeks, is going to have high pressure zones in this part of the world here to contend with before it can drop southwards. So I just want to mention that for those of you who have already seen the tropical low that's trying to form. We talk about that in our Pacific Islands video, which is also out today. So moving through this week, Thursday, the winds ease in the New Zealand area, pretty much high pressure all the way through, but we're just on the South Island, just a little bit on the edge of it. So still getting the southerly wind and a few showers just around Invercargill to the Catlins and a couple of showers up here, mostly in the ranges. Don't worry, no repeat of what we just saw. And yes, there is that wind and rain feeding into the New South Wales, New South Wales, Victoria border. So going through to Friday, that low weakens. It's not much of a storm, but it's just trapping moisture in the same spot and repeating it. But as you notice on Friday, it drifts out from most of Australia. New Zealand's got high pressure over us. So apart from a couple of showers coming through here into Waitanapa and Hawke's Bay, and again, we're not talking about much. This is high pressure and control, just a couple of showers around. So as we go into the weekend, things are pretty settled. But like I said earlier on, that low from Australia is coming our way. It is pretty weak, 1003, that's not very deep. Out here, high pressure again, and out to the east, another block of high pressure. That means mild northerly winds return to New Zealand on Saturday, and by Sunday we've got the windy nor'westers blowing through, but subtropical for many of you in the top of the country. Yes, there is rain moving in, but it's going to fall apart. You know, we're getting to that time of year where a lot of the fronts that come in from the southwest, they fall apart as they move northwards. So as we head into summer, that's good news for the South Island, but for the North Island, I think you're still going to see that drying out phase. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to say it. But for now, we're still expecting the North Island to dry out in the coming weeks. And we do actually have more details about that tomorrow, Wednesday, our next ClimateWatch update, the last one for the year, because we don't have one at the end of December, start of January. So we'll be taking a very close look at what is going to happen over December and January. And we do believe that we're going to see some rain in the South Island, but not as much for the North Island. So that's just the early preview of Climate Watch coming up tomorrow, Wednesday. So there we go. Sunday's a little bit unsettled. And just to end, we go through to Monday of next week, and you've got a little bit of wet weather to the top here. But because there's high pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and a little bit of low pressure in the middle, there's not much in the way of rain. And I know you're sick of it over here on the eastern side, Wairoa in particular, my dad's hometown. This area here has had a lot of rain lately. And yes, you still have some more coming through, but it's not going to be a huge amount. And you should start to notice those totals dropping away. The only thing that will change that is any kind of subtropical low. And we have had a couple of lows to the north recently, which have driven in that extra rain here for the eastern side. But I don't expect that's going to carry on. It's certainly not showing up in the long range data, but we'll have more information about that tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next Climate Watch update and also our next New Zealand, Australia update as we take a look at the weekend weather. That's all from me for today, though. Don't forget our Pacific Islands update, also out this afternoon.